Alright, the cerebral cortex is the outer layer of the brain, and it's responsible for complex mental functions like thinking and planning. The brainstem begins when the spinal cord swells and enters the skull, and it's responsible for the automatic survival functions, and it's the crossover point for nerves where the one side of the brain controls the opposite side of the body. The medulla is responsible for heartbeat and breathing. It's where the spinal cord enters the skull. The reticular formation is for the sleep-wake cycle and for arousal. The pons is for sleeping and dreaming, and the difference between the two is that it has also is in charge of respiration and breathing rate. The cerebellum coordinates voluntary movement, and it's the two round structures that extend from the rear of the brainstem. The thalamus receives incoming sensory info, organizes it, and relays it to the cortex. The basal ganglia works with the cerebellum and cerebral cortex to control the voluntary movements. The hypothalamus controls motivated behaviors like eating, drinking, and sexual activity. The pituitary gland is a pea-sized gland just below the hypothalamus, and it controls growth and regulates other glands. The hippocampus is in charge of learning and storage of long-term memories. The amygdala influences our aggression and our fear, and the corpus callosum is a large band of neural fibers connecting the two brain hemispheres and carry messages in between them.
Okay, so Wernicke's area is involved in understanding of spoken language. Broca's area is involved in speech production. The temporal lobe is involved in hearing, language processing, and memory. The occipital lobe is involved in processing and responding to visual stimuli. The somatosensory cortex detects and interprets information on touch, temperature, pain, and pressure, and allows us to perceive the size, shape, and texture of an object through touch. The motor cortex controls voluntary movements. The parietal lobes use the senses based on taste, temperature, and touch. And the frontal lobe is involved in personality, intelligence, and voluntary control of muscles.